Afternoon, scholars, and friends obliged to be subscribed to me. Over the past maybe 1 or 2 or 7 months, I've been quite inactive, except for that Evangelion theme song parody. But I, your beloved boy LeBlue, have returned to read my own story like a true audible-using alpha male gigachad. The Linjil is an allegorical retelling of human history through the lens of Judeo-Christian storytelling. Of course, I'm not endorsing polytheism or soul sleep, but these stories are meant to be fiction, in the vein of Paradise Lost or Dante's The Divine Comedy. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show.
The Book of Nokh, written by the Son through Prophet Nokh. Prime Genesis. Either reality had no beginning, or something beyond our reality made it. How high is heaven from the earth? How high is the fifth from the fourth, or the third from the last? Nay, not even the most gifted scholar or wise man could ever comprehend that which is beyond the realm of flesh and matter. We cannot know the sublime deity, hear their voice, or feel their flesh, only know there is one we cannot know. Yet somehow, for some reason, the sublime deity would like to know us, to taste their flesh, hear their words, feel their presence. Therefore, Linjil. Think of the sublime like a throne room. The Father sits on his golden cherubim throne, with the sword of omnipotence on his right, the chalice of omniscience on his left, and the crown of omnipresence on his head. The personification of radhdra, power. By his side stands the Mother, holiness and glory in one, the personification of Jamalia, beauty. In her arms she holds the Son, who is mere flesh and matter like any other. He receives authority from the Father and the Mother, the personification of avapra, humility. A family is one entity, made up of many members. So too is the divine. Do those who are above number need to be one? Do those who are above number need to be three? Nay, the sublime deity is a Zialbadakh, a family, out of many, one. When the Father and Mother were consummated in marriage, the Son was born to them. They made the universe and everything in it, by the Father's radhdra, the Mother's Jamalia, and the Son's mind, soul, and body. The expansion of the initial singularity was the combination of power and beauty, with the Son being born to it. Everything that was made to glorify the Zialbadakh, for the one thing the sublime deity cannot do is cease to be God, to contain their power. Everything existed to be good, to selflessly work with one another, to be beautiful for the sake of beauty, to be honorable for the sake of honor, and to be humble for the sake of humility. In 11 days they made the steps to the throne of the divine. The first, the second, the third, and the rest were unacquainted. But as for the 12th, that was the divine itself, the only one they did not make, and who knows, perhaps there are things higher than the Father and the holy Zialbadakh. Hymnogenesis. The heavens are mysterious, not made of flesh nor earth, nor beholden to time, every time at once. So I, a mere prophet, will try my best to explain it. There are many Ilakh under the Zialbadakh, and he will kill them, and he has ruled over them, and he will sit him by the right hand. When the healer comes to the earth, he will subjugate the planets and everything in them, liberating us from the human condition. The throne of God sits within the hearth of God, a beating and living fire, the primal divine light which burns all the impure who touch it. Beyond it lies the crystal sea where the Ulfanir orbit the hearth of God. The material realm mirrors the material realm. The hearth of God is like soul, and the Ulfanir like the planets. Good and bad chaotic luck is defined by the wars between the Ilakh under the Zialbadakh and the Ilakh under the abomination. Highest to the 12-step throne of our Zialbadakh are the Seraphim, holy, transient, loving, they sing. Faces of birds, teeth of lions, 6 limbs in total, 2 legs, 2 wings, 2 arms, covered head to tail in every color on the spectrum with feathers soft as silk. They flaunt and dance around God's throne, slowly moving like fine puppetry. Sitting on the steps to the Zialbadakh's throne are the 7 archangels, Chibrael, Uriel, Enkiel, Michael, Thoriel, Azrael, Jerziel. They are the greatest gods below highest heaven. They would be worshipped by the heathen if they were not in love with the glorious Zialbadakh. Their bodies are of 2 colors, light gray matter and pure white light. They're androgynous, above animalistic traits, although they have a humanoid form and great wings like that of eagles. On the bottom 3 steps of the throne are the Watchers, neither good nor evil, just there, just watching. Under the archangels are the Ilachim, which some, unfortunately, have fallen, deceived by Jersiad. Terragenesis. God lit a match, flicker, spark, water by water. Zialbadakh in righteous fury blasted out the singularity, beyond its cosmic veil. The sublime stretched out the heavens like a tent, arching over the Aether below. And in the Aether the divine gave forth from its essence, and molded a flaming light, which they called Hydros, water giver. When Hydros grew old, it died, and from its rotting corpse created 2 new lights, lesser than the one before. When those grew old, they each created 2 more lights, 4 in total. Over time, there were dozens of lights, floating throughout the heavens. The mother took each light, and multiplied them by a factor of 10 to the 10,000th, and then molded the lights into spheres within spheres, spheres within spheres, spheres within spheres. Some were bright and made of the finest plasma, others made of gases, and yet others like little rocks and pebbles. In time they cooled, and formed rings within rings, rings within rings, rings within rings. The lightest matter was the first wed, with the heavier materials entering matrimony later on. These were the parents of all the galaxies, the stars, and the planets under heaven. God's favorite world was Mother Terra, whom he had given a soul. To her he said, "O gracious lady, you are the most beautiful realm in all the universe. A wonderful plan I have for you. But the stronger your son, the greater the birth pains." But something was missing, life. So the father stepped down from glory and cupped his hands in a pool of water. He breathed into the waters, and from the waters came sludge, which oozed and swam into the deep. From this pond expand and diversify, fill the worlds with my wonders, spread from planet to planet and from sea to sky. And with that, life began its crusade against sterility and decay. Homogenesis. In those ancient days, older than bread or wine, men were like animals, like any beast of the wood or creeping thing of the earth. The first world was virgin and young, with all living creatures obeying the sublime and perfect submission. But man was different from the rest, with a spear in his hand, fire in his heart, and clothing on his back. He was as crafty as the wolf, as wise as the crow, and as refined as the mammoth. He alone was given the title Son of Terra, yet his birth had not yet arrived. The abomination came up from Gehenna, crafty as ever. He fought past Mother Terra and defiled her, and from this bastard pregnancy came Tall, brother of man. He came to man and said to him, "Take, eat, this is the spice of sapience." And deceived man partook of the spice through his nostrils, and it opened his eyes to that which was beyond his dimension. Stepping back, man spoke, for now he could speak. "Why have you punished me so? I don't know anything, except I cannot know anything." "Calm yourself, my little one. This is but the first contraction, before the birth of the next god." Next god? Who is God? God is the one who torments you with life and light. God was the one who gave you the spice, not me. And from a certain point of view, this was true. The only true life is death, for only then can you ascend the steps to the throne. "I see," man pondered. "I will attempt to climb these steps in order to see this god for myself. What must I do next?" "Kill, and bathe in the blood of your enemy." "Kill? My lord, I'm an herbivore." "Do you want reason? The ability to see the divine like the mortal, the ability to view the material and the immaterial with awe?" he thundered. "Oh, yes, this reason does sound great. Now that I know my mission, I will bathe in blood and consume flesh." So he took his spear, which was once for high-up fruits, and ate a wild ox. After doing this, the abomination baptized him in his blood. "Great, now for the last contraction. What is it, my lord?" The newly enlightened man said. "Kill your brother Tall, and then you shall be free to express your will. Thy will be done, my lord." Later that day, man took a rock and killed Tall in the valley of Megiddo, near what is now Hu-lez. Mother Terra watched helpless. She loved them both regardless, and from her tears the earth grew frigid and barren. Man came to the abomination, Tall's head in his hands. "Ha ha ha! You fool! That was funny. What do you mean? You fell for it. You left nature in exchange to live on your own," he cackled. "I don't understand." "Silence!" And the trumpets sound. Gibrael, Michael, and Uriah on their shining white horses came down from glory. The abomination swooped up into the air, his flaming sword alight. Two of the archangels parried to the left to dodge him. Uriel the third was not so lucky. After some time the two subdued him. "Up to the great throne you go," they said. They were taking him up to God's judgment. The abomination quivered in his locked chamber, as his face and body burned in the light of our holy Zialbadakh. He was chained and paraded in the streets of Jannah. Defeated, he kneeled at the bottom of the Father's throne, and our Lord used him as a footstool. "You thought you could defeat me, the highest power, the God of gods and Lord of lords. You know you are my tool, right? That nothing can happen outside the transient mind of the divine. I have a will too, you know," said the abomination. "Yes, and now man has a will too." "What will you do with my baby?" said Mother Terra, as she was present at the court proceedings. "The boy is no longer an animal, no longer one with nature," said the father. "He is no longer your son." "Then who will take care of him?" she exclaimed. "Be still, Lady Gaia," said the mother. "The daughter of God shall be his wife, to take care of him and to protect him." "As for you, abomination," said the father, "you will be the emperor of Gehenna. Never again will you walk the earth until those very last days." "Very well, your blindness, but who can see light without darkness?" sneered the evil one. "You have your messengers. Maybe they'll actually listen to you for once." After the proceedings, the abomination was banished, his devils released, and man and the daughter were wed in marriage. The daughter of God left the Zialbadakh and was incarnate woman. From the children of man and his wife descend all of us, made like the Zialbadakh, an animal body, a spiritual soul, and a rational mind, out of many, one.